This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, good morning, guys. So let's get started. So yesterday we had a brief look at, or I would say, introduction to different version control systems, and also we seen what is Git, and in that process we seen what is Git and TFPC, etc. And then we started looking at the Azure Repos, and we started with the cloning of the project in our Azure Repos repository, which is a remote on the portal. So that is one way, right? We stopped at committing all the changes to our local machine, but we haven't actually pushed that code to the remote repository, means to the server. So let's get started from there, and then let's do some of these operations as part of what comes as part of regular life of developer, or DevOps engineer. Okay. So for that, let me open Visual Studio first. And so in our recently open items, I can see my things. So this is what yesterday we created, I guess. uh, Let me check it. Continue with our code. Recent projects, web application. Is this the one we created yesterday? Web application 13, I guess, right? Do you remember name of our one, or what? I did not name it. I'm sure it could be, yeah, this one only. Okay. So okay, let's get started. So yesterday what we did, we simply cloned from Azure repos, right? This project. Let me go here as well. dev.azure.com. So ours is Your Planner 21 organization. Go to online reservation system, and then go to repos and files. So from here we cloned it, and then after we cloning that one, we seen an empty folder here. To that we added this .NET solution, which contains two projects, web application one, and unit tests as well. Okay. So after that we tried to do committal. How did we do? So we went to view, and then, as I told you, team explorer is the one which contains all your information. And then we tried to click on changes, and we saw all the changes here yesterday, because nothing was added to the source control, which is your local basically. And that's why it was showing all plus symbols. After we added to the source control, all these plus symbols change to log symbol. Okay. It means that all these files, the solution and project, are in our source control. But when you are using Git, as I told you, you have your source control management system into two places. One is your local, and another one is the server. Okay. Right now these are in local. How can you say that? One way you can say that, if you go to your uh, Azure Repos, and you go to the relevant repository, which ours is online reservation system is the repository. And then if you see here, everything is empty. Nothing is been added. This is one way to check it, whether it is in the server or not. The other way is that you can still see here, it is showing one unpushed commit. If you expand everything, nothing is nothing is edited. Everything is in a locked mode. That means everything is added to the source control, but still it is showing me one unpushed commit. Means I committed something, but I did not push it to the server. That's the reason it is showing one unpushed commit. Okay, now I want to push it to the server, so that the let us think that I'm an architect. I did this skeleton of this application. The skeleton is nothing but structure. It doesn't have any logic here. So, but I need to make it available to all the other developers, right? So that they can go and download the same way how I download it. Means you have to clone it. I mean, developer have to clone it. Okay, they will clone it and they start working on the coding basically, and they will go and add whatever they want here based on the need. Now, how I will go and push it to the server? So you have to go to the Team Explorer. Okay, you know, click on Changes. Here you did not see anything, right? You did not see anything. That means everything is committed, but it is to the local. So right now you cannot, even if you enter something, nothing will be enabled because everything is committed to the local repository in your local Git actually. So for that, what we need to do, you need to click on sync. There is an operation called sync, Git command. When you click on sync, right, it is showing what all it is showing. Hey, this project is in the master branch, and there are some operations that is available: sync, fetch, pull, push, etc. And there are two sections: incoming commits and outgoing commits. Outgoing commit means you made some changes to your local repository in your local Git, means on your laptop or desktop, and it has to be made available in the server. So those commits are will be displayed in the outgoing. If something is available in the server but not in your local machine, then they will be displayed in the incoming commits basically. Okay, now let's go ahead and sync it. So we clicked on the sync, we have come here, right? Just say go and push. Click on the push. Basically, push is one Git command, but we are not using any command line operations, right? That's why we say it as a operation here. Now you see, once it is done, you can see successfully pushed branch master to origin. Basically, you can see the this is the branch. In this branch all the code is available. Okay, it is pushed to the origin. Origin means server. Always think about it. Origin means server. Okay, now there are no more changes available in your local system that have to be pushed to the server. Now let's go and check it actually. Sorry, uh, let me refresh this. Right, you can see the code now, because we pushed. First, what we did, first we committed to our local PC. Because of some reasons we did not push that code to the remote repository online reservation system. So since we committed to our local Git repository but we did not push it to the server, we had to go and click on the sync. When you click on sync, it given me an option to push all my code to the remote repository. Now this code is available on the server. Whoever is having access to the Azure Repos, they can go ahead and clone this project to their local machine, start working on it basically. So this is one way of making the projects available in the Azure Repos central repository, I mean Azure Repos repository, so that other developers can go ahead and contribute. Uh, Clear? Guys, any doubt?
Yes.
Okay. So I told you there is another way to add projects to the uh, remote repository as well. What is that other way? So first we went ahead and did the cloning, and then we got that option cloning, right? The other way is, as a DevOps engineer, you will go and create a repository. So how do you create a repository? So when you come to these files, okay, and you can simply go ahead and by default you will have this repository with the name of the project. You can go ahead and create a new repository. You are a DevOps engineer and you are an admin as well, so that's why you will be able to do it. Contributor cannot do this. Okay, so repository type, it is asking Git only. Okay, and give some name to the repository. I would say I'll give some different name than this one. Okay, online. Let's give some name. I'll give some as your journeys. Okay, and it is saying add a readme. Readme is nothing but just a text file which where you can go and add some documentation. Okay, you can see with any software products. Okay, and it is also going to add some added dot git ignore file. Right now it is none. Let it be like that. And it is saying your repository will be initialized with a main branch. So as I told you guys, in Git, whenever you create a repository or a project, the that will be placed in the main branch. Your project will be placed in the main branch. That is by design. Whether it is a tool, Azure DevOps tool, or Bitbucket, it can be anything, but this is the funda basically. That's the reason even in my Visual Studio is having the Git, right? When I committed code, uh, it went and placed in the master branch basically. Okay, master is default. Now let's go and create a repository. Okay, now it is empty as you seen. Okay, now party will say some, let us say some architect created their code, okay, and skeleton or code as well, working code as well, and then he come and ask, hey, I don't have access to the Azure Repos, so give me a remote repository, I'll push my code to the server. That's what we say. Okay, so or they don't know basically. They started working on a project. They have a bunch of logic developed in their application, and they want to push it here, and after that developers will start joining your project and they will clone that project into their laptops. So how do they do it? Okay, so for that, let me come out from this solution first. How do I come out? You can go and close the solution. Okay, and now let me log out from here as well, from my Visual Studio. I'm removing. You can see Visual Studio no longer be able to access online resources that use this account. Remove. That's it. Okay, let me open again. You can see it clearly. Continue without code. So for this example purpose, right, I will go and let think that I am a architect or a developer or lead developer. I go and create uh, a .NET projects for my application for this your journeys. Okay, I'll go and create a project. So whenever I create a project, basically it creates a solution, and in that solution, it keeps that project, because your real-time application will have more than one project basically. So in .NET, you will have that structure: solution and then project. I will talk about those things as well in the upcoming classes. Okay. So there are number of project types. I'll go and take ASP.NET Web Application Framework. Okay. Next, I'll give some name as your journeys, that is a project name, and I'm keeping the solution name is also your journeys. Okay, so what I do here, just to differentiate the project name and the solution name, I'll say web, that is a project name, and your journeys, this is a solution name. It contain number of projects, as I told you, right? It can be API, it can be anything, so I just renamed it to your journeys only, and it is using .NET framework. It is going to sit in this folder. Create. So I'll say MVC. I will say I also need a web API. Means two projects will be created. One is MVC, means it is a web application. Web API means it is a API application. I don't say HTTPS, etc. I also asking a unit test project to be created. So it will create the project like this with this name. Okay. Your journeys web.tests. Okay. Say create. So I'm not a DevOps engineer now. I'm an architect or a lead developer or a developer. Okay. Okay, so let me go to Solution Explorer. It's still creating. You can see in the bottom left corner. Okay, it's done. If you don't see a Solution Explorer here, all you have to do is go to View and then identify Solution Explorer. Now I can see everything. So, guys, now you can see this is not in our source control clearly because you don't see any plus symbol or lock symbol here, right? And in the bottom also you can see there is an option called Add to Source Control. If it is in source control, then it will display some branch name and some other commit icons, etc. So it clearly says it is not in source control. Now this guy can go and do a add to source control basically. Okay, when you do a add to source control, you see Git is my source control in my local, so it is available here. Click on Git. Done. So it is in my local now. If you go to Solution Explorer, see, this is in local. Everything is with lock symbol. All the files. File. This is a file. This is a file. Folders you don't see. Inside the folder you will see the lock symbols. Okay. So right now this is in my local Git repository, uh, and that repository has the master branch. Inside that I have this code available, but not in the server because my Visual Studio is not yet connected to my Azure Repos basically. Okay, and you see the unpushed commits too, and you can go and see the history anywhere basically. Now right click and say view history. You see, everywhere you will see add project files, and as of now, if I go on, because I haven't made any change, click on any other file as well. Right click, view history, because I haven't made any changes. Okay. Now after this also, this guy can go ahead and make some changes. You see, let's go ahead and add some changes. I don't write any logic because that is not important as a DevOps guy. Okay, I'll just make some comments. For comments, you use a slash slash. Okay, uh, skeleton code for bundle configuration. Like this, I'll write some code. Okay, I'll save this. If you see, as soon as you made some change, it change it to tick mark, means pending edit. So you need to commit it actually. And similarly, I make some changes to some other files as well. It's a comment. Okay, enough. Basically, more than one change. Okay, now I'll go and try to commit this one first. Say if you see, if I when I went to the team explorer earlier, you were seeing many options here because your project connected to Azure repos basically. Right now your project is in your local Git repository but not connected to any server, basically any source control management server. So my Visual Studio is giving by default all these options. Do you want to publish it to GitHub, which is our public GitHub? Everybody knows it. Then you will go and use a publish to GitHub. You want to add it to Azure DevOps? Go ahead and use a publish Git repo. And you want to add it to some other location? Go and do it. You can read it basically. So always when you go to Team Explorer, it will give you this option. Okay, now you know that this is not here in remote repository. You can go and click on it actually. And the other way you can see manage connections here. So when you click on manage connections, so I've been working on many things, so it will show me a lot of things. Okay, so I have local Git repositories, and similarly I have see all these remote repositories which is in our Azure repos, basically dev.azure.com. You can see the complete URL dev.azure.com/ the repository name basically. So you can go ahead and add a connection as well, manage connections, and you can go and add a connect to a project. When you say connect to a project, you have to give your Azure DevOps credentials, your user ID and password. Okay. As soon as you give that, uh, uh, or add Azure. I mean, this is for local. As soon as you give a sign in your user ID credentials, I'm not giving it now. You will be seeing dev.azure.com and the repositories to which you are having access to, and it is based on your access permissions, what you set to the team member basically. So this is where you see, right, go to project settings. If the person is not belonging to any one of the teams, then he will not be able to access your Azure repos basically. Okay. So let's go ahead and push it. So here also you can, as I said, you can go and manage and then add it. It can be added, but this is not the easiest way. The easiest way is, simply whenever you come to team explorer, click on home basically. You can simply say, uh, you can click change it, I mean sync as well. When you click on sync as well, it will come to this page because this is not in the Azure repos. Now click on publish Git repo. Since you are not signed in, see, this is the same section I had it when I click on the manage connections as well. You just need to sign in. You means whoever is doing this one. Say sign in, click on. I give my Azure DevOps credentials. Generally, it is your company account if you are a part of any organization. Okay, you see, on the top also, the Visual Studio is signed in with my account. You see on the top, Purna K, right? And similarly here now, your account is having to some DevOps organizations. So you can see, I have access to e-commerce, Purna, online travel, and your planner 21, etc. Okay. You can select your planner. This is my organization. Okay. And click on advanced. Otherwise, if you don't go to advanced, what happens? It will display a repository name equivalent to your organization, uh, your project name, I guess. Okay, but click on the advanced. When you click on advanced, it will show me everything. Online reservation system is the DevOps project. You know that under your Planet 21, we have only one project, that is online reservation system, right? Under that, if you go to the repos, you have two repositories, two remote repositories, I would say, online reservation system and your journeys. Okay. I will select, I want to keep this project, your journeys, in your journeys repository name. Just put it here. Say publish repository. If I have to tell you, this is how most of the times people follow, because DevOps engineer is a different team. Though you are working for the same application, you are from a different team, and a developer is from different team. They always need to make some request to get access to the system. I mean, they will send some email to your project manager, he will approve, and or there might be some portal where they will go and make a request, and it will come to you. Then you will go and give access to that guy. How you will give that access, you know that, I mean, you will go to your project settings and teams, and you will make that guy added to that groups as a contributor. Okay. So this is where your permissions, all that comes into picture. You have to go and see the permissions basically. Okay. What a contributor will have, what a administrator can have. Obviously you will never add anyone to project administrator or build administrator. We'll always add it to your contributors. If something is required which is not part of these things, then you will go ahead and add a custom group as well. Okay, like that. Now let's get back.
Now, how do we add a custom group here?
The same thing. We did it already in our groups, right? So when you go and add a teams, right? This is nothing but you are adding a group. Okay. If you go to the permissions as well,
Okay,
if
yes.
you, since you are administrator, since you are an administrator, here you can go ahead and add a group basically. Okay.
Do we
Group is
have
nothing but
option
you are.
to
Yeah.
copy information from a existing group? Like,
I see. I mean, it is not a very extensive set of rules, right? You are creating a group because you do not find something here and here. You got me.
okay,
If you go, I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't give you. If you do a copy from one place to other place, right? Then that means you are getting all these things here. But your idea of creating a new group is customization. You don't want anything to come from here or here, basically. You got me. So now I will go
yes.
and create some, let us say, I'll give custom group only. Okay, some name. Okay, and you can go ahead and add members. Okay, let us say Kiran. Say create. Where is that?
The
Here.
third one.
Yeah. Now you will go and manage all these things. You will go and set all the permissions basically. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
Here.
thank you.
Okay. That's it. So you just need to read the things as I told you, right? You need to explore it because we cannot have all these things. Okay. By default, you see this custom group is part of a valid users project valid users group basically. But he cannot do anything if that is the case. You need to add it to other groups and manage permissions from here. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. So you are basically extending. You always have the base functionality, right? In any project, sorry, in any programming language, in any tool, companies, I mean, products will set their basic functionality and you will extend it actually. Okay, based on your need.
okay,
Yeah. So, anyways, we are here only. Go to online reservation system and then go to repos. Now you see your journeys. The code should have been here. Your journeys. Uh, did I not do that? Let me come here. Okay, your journeys was pushed. See it on the web. On oh, online reservation system. Your journeys. It is here, right? You can click this, the URL. Why this code is not pushed? Oh, go to master. Oh yeah. I mean it's not refreshed. When I clicked on the master, you see my code, right? This is the code what we uh, pushed from our local computer, local repository, and you can see history for everything. This is how you see the history. Now the other developers can go ahead and clone it if they have access to. And the process of connecting to Azure Repos is same. They can go ahead and clone directly from the Azure Repos, or they can go to Team Explorer and click on Add Connection, give the user credentials. If they have access to, you know, this repository, they will get access here. They can download. Clear how you can add, or how developers or someone can add their projects to Azure Repos or clone it from Azure Repos to their local. So many of the times what happens when they start working on it, they don't know how to do all these things. So what happens? Your project manager may ask you to conduct a session for the people basically on how to use this Azure Repos or the Git actually. So you will be the primary person there, and after that, uh, your role will turn to managing the permissions, giving access to the people, creating groups or creating teams, etc. Okay. When you are in the coding phase, when you come to CI pipeline means build and deployment phase, you will have different responsibilities. For the time being, we are doing only code management activities. Now you see the code there as well, right? Now it is showing me in the bottom, you see there are two changes. What are these two changes? I don't know. Let me see it. Okay. I made some changes, right? It is showing me, in bundle config.cs, I added one comment. You see, skeleton. So this is a previous, it will, when you compare, right, it will always show me two panes, left and right. Left is old, right is new, like that. Skeleton code I added. And if I double click the bundle configuration like this. Okay. Now, let me explain that scenario. I was telling you, right, you were, now by this time you already know, you already have a versioning system on local as well, because you are able to see the history. And to prove that one more time, right, let me commit this one to local, not to the server. Okay, how do I commit? Either I right click and then say commit, or you can go to team explorer, and if you are here, click on changes, then it will show me all the changes. I'll say local commit only. I am committing local only. You see, commit all. If I use other option, commit all and push, it will commit to you know our remote repository. Now click on commit all. Okay. Now it is clearly telling me, as I shown yesterday, yeah, it is created locally, but sync it to share with your changes to the server so that other developers will make use of it. Now I'll make few other changes as well to the same thing. Let us say route.config. Now I will add one more change in the bottom. One more comment. Let us say I'll say need to update routes. Okay, and then I'll make some more changes here. Need to update registrations. Okay, now I will go and again commit. Actually, I can directly do it here, right? Commit. So wherever is you are doing, you will, I mean, wherever you are clicking, when you say commit, it will come here only. Okay, so a few more. These are just comments. Okay, local changes. Commit all. Now you see, I mean, if you are using, centralized version control system, right? When you click and commit, it will directly go and sit in your remote repository. But when you are using Git, you have a version control system locally as well. That's the reason you will be able to do a number of commits and keep it in your local machine, and you can see the history as well. How you can see it? You can click on any file and say view history. See, now I can see the history. This is similar to what you see on the servers as well, but it is still not on the server. And there are some identification you can see. If you see here the bottom file, right, bottom hit, you will have a account ID, and then this is the commit ID, account ID, and the date timestamp, and then comment actually. And on the top, I mean, rightmost place, you can see origin/master, and on the top you see only master. Means only this, up to this commit, you have it in the server as well, origin/master. But if the other files are not in the origin, means remote basically, means server. See, when you say remote or server or origin, that means your Azure Repos repositories on the Azure DevOps platform. Okay, so this is in the master, means this is local only. You understand how you can see whether it is in local Git repo or in a remote Git repo. Clear? Hello.
Yeah, clear for me.
Okay. Now let me go ahead and see the changes. Okay. If I double click this, you can see the changes. This version contains a skeleton code for route config, and there is one more statement called need to update routes. These are the two, right? Let me go here. Let me see the the earlier version at what we did at 738, right? Double click this. It contains only skeleton code for route config, right? And if we go to first commit, it doesn't contain any comments here. So since we are having local versioning as well, which is the beauty of your Git repositories, I can always go ahead and revert my changes as well to the previous version. Let us think that you made some 100 code changes in this version, and next day you made another 50 changes in this version. But you think that but you forgot basically what are all the places you made all those changes, because there might be hundreds of files here. You might have your code, I mean developer code might have spread across multiple files. So but what he says, hey, he might come and ask a DevOps engineer, right? Hey man, I made some changes yesterday, I made few more changes today. Fortunately, I committed all changes to my local Git repo, but I don't know how to get back to my older version because I don't remember what are all the files I changed. He simply says that I want to go back to my older version. Then you can simply say that, hey, you go and use the option. Ask him to go to see the history, and right click on the file wherever. I mean, if you are here and right click, you will see this one. You have an option called revert here. Ask them to click on revert. It is asking me, are you sure you want to revert commit? This is the commit ID 6C57E. You see 6C57E. It is giving me warning, right? Yes, I say, hey, revert this commit. I did that. Let me refresh this so that this pane will be refreshed. Now when I refreshed, you can see one more commit here, because every operation what you see in Git is a commit. Basically every change is a commit. Okay, now you see when you click on double click on this one right now, your route config .cs is at this commit id at this version. Basically double click this, you see first we made this change, right? Skeleton code, and after that we made another comment. So when I did a revert, it went to the previous version. You got me? It went to this version basically. Okay, go and check the other files. There are no changes, right? So this is how people can go and revert back their changes, though they are not connected to actual server, I mean remote repository. You basically have your local repository with all the versioning capabilities. Okay, and one more thing, if you don't want any one of these changes, right, you have an option to reset as well. So go and see the view history, any file, click on any file, and think that you want to you don't want any one of these changes as well. You can see here, right? Did I make any changes? Yeah, yeah. Need to update registration pass, etc. You don't want anything, click on the initial one, right click and say reset. When you say reset, you will have two options: delete changes and keep changes. Click on delete changes. You say, are you sure you want to reset this branch and delete all the local changes? Delete all the local changes means in your local repository, not the remote, because your remote is being used by many other developers. Say yes. Now go ahead and refresh it. Nothing is being here, you see. You go and see anything now. Go ahead and see the view history. You see, even history also deleted. So you never see my changes. Web API, route config, no change, no changes, no changes. You got me? When you say reset, it went back to the wherever I clicked on it, it reset to old, I mean original version. All the local changes have been gone along with the history, because I say delete changes. Along with history, everything is been gone from local, not from the server. Okay, you got. Now you understand what is the meaning of pivot and reset. And this is the beauty of your Git repositories basically, or Git platform. Now in the bottom you see no commits, no pending changes basically. Clear?
Yes, Purna.
Okay. Now let's go and look at the scenarios, right? The day-to-day life of developers, right? Or sometimes you may also need to make some changes, but most of the times you make changes directly from the server basically. I mean, from the portal itself. So most of the times, as a DevOps engineer, you will be asked to make some configuration changes. Those configuration changes will be in the web.config, or there might be some text files, etc. Okay, as part of you know your project development. So why people may ask you to make some configuration changes? It's all this configuration only will have some few things about their project, and as well as database server details like user id, password, server names, or if they are using any apis, they will keep the api details like urls, etc. So it doesn't require compilation basically. Anything that required compilation means changes have to be reflected, then they don't ask you to do it. Anything that doesn't require compilation, like add making some changes to web.config, etc., they may ask you, but you don't do it generally in the here in the Visual Studio. You can directly do from here as well. How do you do it? It's very simple. We'll come there basically. It's very simple. Okay, for the timing, how developers will update a server with all these details. So from now onwards, we use the term called remote repository. Remote repository means that the repository on the server. Local repository means the repository on your local. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make some changes. Okay. So he's a developer, right? So, filter config changes for URLs. Okay. I'll say web API routes added today. So like this, this developer will go and make n number of changes across n number of files, right? So your application description page for such functionalities, something like this. Okay. So now if you want to directly push it to the server, all he need is right click here, anywhere right click, and say sorry, you will not find here. Right click on any file, you have these changes, right tick mark, you can see, right click, commit, and then you'll say route changes for such functionality. So far we did commit all, right? When you say commit all, it will go to only local device. So you simply say commit all and push. When you say commit all and push, you can see outgoing commits, you can see here, done. Successfully pushed to origin/master means it pushed to the master branch, which is remote, because it is showing origin. Now you go to your here, right? Now you go and refresh it. You can see here when I refresh this project, you can see you updated master branch. Okay, just now. Okay, if you want to see the history, you can see the history here. I mean, this is the content, you see, this is the history, and you can see who did what basically. Okay, you can see some graph as well. I'll explain later. Route changes for such functionality. Okay, and this is the commit id, and this is the guy who did it. And if you want to see the details, go and check the details. It will show all the details basically. 3 files have been changed. Okay, and if you see the plus symbol, right, these are the changes that have been added. These are the lines, you see. I added one blank space, that's why you see the plus symbol. I added one comment, that's why you see the plus symbol. Okay, similarly here. So you can see here minus and plus. Minus means basically I did in this web api config.cs, I did not add a new line. I actually modified it actually, you see. So for the modification it takes like this, basically how it thinks, it delete the older one and added the new one. But when you see like this is basically modification, you see. Web api routes, I added statement called added today, that's why it is showing in a different color as well. So this is how you can understand, guys, as a DevOps engineer, when somebody asks, hey, what changes have been done. Because when there are hundreds of developers, or 10 15 developers, or 5 developers, they will, I mean, depend on you to look at the changes, etc. Of course they can see from Visual Studio as well, but you are a third person here. Here also you can see I modified the line, that's why it is showing minus and then plus. I added this functional comment here. Makes sense? This is how you can inspect the changes as well as a DevOps engineer. So you are under files and then details. It will show all these things, history basically. Okay, click on files. Okay, so this is how you make change to the server. So right now you did a push, basically commit all and push the developer. So but there are other developers as well to do this coding, right? I mean, so they also push their code to the remote repository. But every next day, right, the best practice is that today we are done with the work, and tomorrow when I come back to work, the best practice is that asking the developers to take the latest from the server to their local repository. Otherwise they will get into many conflicts. I will talk about those conflicts when we talk about merge, basically. Okay, now right now I have only one developer, that is myself, so I don't get any conflicts. But Kiran, you have access to this repository, right? Can you log in?
Yeah, I'll try.
Yeah. So what we do, because you may not have Visual Studio or you may not have that, right? We will replay that sessions here itself, or the lab here itself. You log in, and then you will have access to this your journeys. Go to this project. When you come to the files, you'll come make some change here, basically anywhere. So to make change from the portal itself, you have the edit icon here. Click on the edit icon and make changes wherever you want, and then this commit will be enabled. Just click on the commit, basically. That's it. Right now I'm canceling it. So while he is doing it, right now he's seeing,
Purna,
cloning local. Yeah.
I'm not able to log in as access is restricted on my office laptop.
Oh, you can't access. Okay.
No.
Okay. Let me do one thing then. Let me add my another email ID to here. Okay. Uh, or anyone else, Sahul or Lohi, can you log in?
Yeah, I will try.
Sure,
Yeah.
Purna. Okay.
So that we can see the live scenarios, basically. Or else I have to log in with to this portal with another account, basically. Now I logged in with my admin account, both to local and remote as well. So meanwhile, I'll go ahead. Okay, let them add first the changes. Okay. You see the push now. You see the sync. Now we will see the pull. Teams. Yeah, you are there.
Need to add comments?
You are there.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So make I mean, as I shown you, right? Make some changes to any file and let me know the. I can see the file name. That's okay. Make any changes anywhere in any file basically. Just make a comment slash slash and do something. Be it a comment or be it some logic, it's a change only, right? End of the day, your system doesn't know anything about your logic. It treats each and every code line as a logic only. And it's just a code line for this system. Done.
Doing it.
Okay. Now what we are simulating is some other developer made some changes in his local repository and pushed it to the server. But since he doesn't have Visual Studio, he is directly doing it on the server. So that's not a problem. All we need is some changes.
I did some just
Okay. Let me see the
mentioned
history.
something.
I can see the history. Okay. I'll click here. Let me refresh. Where did you do that? Uh,
In control
or I
under controllers.
under controllers is did it. Click this and then history. I don't see it.
Do we need
Did you
to
click on the
push the
commit?
changes?
Did you click on commit?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, there is okay. Did you here? Uh, can you share your screen so that I'll give you access to share. You can share your screen, I guess. Just give me a second. Uh, make presenter. I made you presenter. Just share your screen so that I will also see. You have the share option, right? Click on that share option. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I done it.
okay. Oh, you are doing it in a wrong place. This
Oh,
is the online reservation system repository. Go on the top. You have that repository, right? Online reservation.
okay. Your journeys.
Your journeys. Go to your
Okay.
journeys. Click on that. You don't see any code here. Click that.
No.
Uh, you have access to your journeys. Click on
Can you show
these
branches?
branches. Click,
Branches
click on
mentioned as well.
branches. Okay. Click on
Okay.
branches.
Yeah.
On branches. Yeah. Now you click on this branch basically.
Okay.
It has to show this. I also got the same problem. But can you click on the main branch here? Here on the top. Here. Right side in the bottom. Yeah.
Here.
Click on this. Yeah.
Okay.
Click the bottom one. That is the
Okay.
default one.
This
Click on
one.
the bottom. Yeah,
Okay.
click that.
Okay.
Okay, you have that code. Okay. Now make any changes in any file basically. Yeah. So now think that you are a DevOps engineer. You can directly do from here as well. That's what I was trying to say. Okay.
Okay, what is it? I mean, like main branch and okay, master branch is the where is the one like we are doing this.
I pushed it actually. Okay, click on the edit first. Otherwise, you cannot.
Yeah.
If it is
Okay.
Visual Studio,
Okay.
when you click enter, it will automatically into edit mode. But in the
Okay.
portal, you have to click on the edit basically. No, no, backslash. No, no, it will not make problem now. But when you compile it, it will give
Okay.
error. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is fine. Click on commit. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You committed. Now you can see home controller. Okay, let me take back screen sharing.
Shall I stop?
Yeah, yeah, please
Okay.
stop sharing. Can you see my screen now, team?
Yeah.
Okay. So now if I refresh this, okay, you made changes in the your journeys web actually. That is a project. And then in controllers, I go here. I can see change done by dev test. Okay. This is some other developer. Okay. So as a DevOps engineer, I am giving a suggestion, right? You need to tell the development teams, hey, every morning when you come back to work, take the latest because the other developers might have done these changes. So how the other developer knows how many changes are here without coming to portal? So it is very easy basically. I'm just closing. Okay, they can come to team explorer. Okay, when they click on sync, right? Okay, when they click on sync, it will show all the changes. First of all, they can see whether they have any uncommitted changes. That's okay. Now you can go and say, I mean, those guys can go ahead and say sync. So so when you click on sync, you basically came here, but it is not showing me any incoming request. Basically, I have one incoming request, but it is not showing here. The reason it is only giving me options. So it is telling me. So basically, what happens when I click on sync, it will directly bring all the server changes to my local, and it will push all my local changes to server. But as a developer, he should not take all the changes from the server and put it on his local PC. First, he needs to understand what changes are there. Otherwise, sometimes what happens, his code may go wrong because of some other people changes. So you can basically do a preview of the changes as well. He can do a preview. Preview means without updating his local, he can see the changes of the server here basically. For that, you need to use fetch. Fetch means it's just a preview. Sync means it will make changes, local and online. Pull means it will take the remote repository changes and update here. But I don't want to do pull or sync. Just say fetch. When I say fetch, it is just showing me what are the changes on the server that are available and not available in the local repository. That's what incoming request. If you want to see the changes, the developer want to see the changes, he can double click and see. You can see there are some home controller. He can double click this. Okay, and it is showing on the left is local and right is it is showing for test. Now if the developer is happy, oh, this code will not make any problem to my local code, then he will go and basically he will go and take that pull basically. So go click on this back button. Now he inspected all these changes. It will not make any problem to his local code. If there is a problem, then he will discuss with other developers, whoever made these changes. So if he is happy, then he will go and say, right now, if you see, when I say fetch, right, where is this? It is in the home controller.cs, right? You can go and inspect first. Say, I don't have that for test here. He created a for test comment. Now, when I go and pull, the change have come here. right? So this is the best practice for the developers to inspect the server changes using fetch command before he go and pull the changes from the server and update it locally, so that he will avoid a lot of rework. Okay, so fetch is for preview only, pull is for directly update your local, sync means update your remote repository with your changes, update your local with the remote changes. Fetch is for simple, uh, your preview basically. Now you know what's the difference between when you use push to push your changes, pull to take the latest from the server, fetch to preview the changes of the server, sync doing both push and pull. That is the sync. And cloning, local, remote. We also seen a few other things, right? What is that? Uh, Revert. Sorry, I did not made it. Revert and reset. Right, guys? These are the things that you learn basically. Okay. We will slowly go to the advanced options as well tomorrow. Okay. Now you basically made some foundational activities. Okay. Clear, guys? Any doubts?
Little bit confused, but anyway, we'll practice and then ask
Yeah.
doubts if.
You simply think to, I mean, like this, right? You have changes on the server, you have changes on your local repository. Okay. If you want to make your changes available on the server, you have to use push. If you want to
Yeah.
take changes from the server to your local, then you have to use pull. You want to do both, push your changes from your local to remote and remote to local, you can use sync. Sync is nothing but a
Sync.
combination of your pull and push. Okay.
Okay.
You want to see the changes of the server before you pull them to your local, then use fetch. Okay.
Okay.
And yesterday we all used commit all only. Commit all means committing to your local repository only, not to the remote repository on the server. And you have the revert and reset. Revert means you can always go back to the previous version of your code file basically. So these are the 5 6, as simple as that. You can remember like that and practice it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys, that's all from me for today. We'll catch up tomorrow. So you go ahead
Thank
and do it. I mean, these are extensive explanations, right? I can do it in 10 minutes as well, but you don't get to the scenario basically. That's the reason we spend time in the trainings. Okay.